Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing another list video. Today's video is going to be a list of books with dragons in them. Some of these I've read, some of these I haven't read and definitely want to read. I just finished Iron Flame, second book in the Fourth Ring series, and I am all about the dragons right now. So that's where this list came from, because I am all about the dragons and maybe you will be too. These first ones we're going to go through are books that I've read and loved that have dragons in them. Now, some of these may have a little bit of dragon, and some of these may have a lot of dragon. That's just going to depend on the book. The first one on this list is Rage of Dragons, and this one has a little bit of dragons in it. We are following Tao, and Tao is your average teenage dude. He just wants to get married and live with his girl for the rest of his life and just be happy, And for whatever reason, he's ending up in the military, but his plan is to injure himself so that he doesn't have to go. I can't remember if they're all like forced into it at a certain age or what, but I just remember that he was going to do this like trial thing early on. Well, while he's there, tragedy ends up ensuing, and because of that, he throws his original plan out the window, and now he is caught up in this plan for revenge. He's going to go after the person who basically caused his entire world to get upended. So he is bound and determined to grow in his skills with the sword, and he does absolutely whatever it takes to grow and grow and grow in his skills so that he can climb the ranks in this military. Because the way that their town works is that you can't duel someone unless you're of equal rank. So he is at the bottom of the totem pole, right? So he can't challenge anyone that's real high above him, and he needs to, because that's who he needs to get his revenge on, right? Well, part of his training is they're in teams for like different events, and they're having to fight in this like weird kind of like dreamlike world. It's so weird and so interesting. Meanwhile, we have this like coup that's happening, this like political battle that's happening on the other side, and we don't know what's happening. We follow just a couple of other characters throughout, so we get a little bit of taste of this extra political stuff that's happening in these political and military maneuvers, and the rest of it is all Tao and him attempting his revenge. So if you don't like revenge, then definitely don't do this one, because this one is all about revenge. How the dragons play in, okay? So we have this magic system in this world where these women can call on these dragons, and the dragons can come and help us win our battles. We also have, I think it's just women who can sort of imbue the men with powers, and then the men like grow like giants, makes them stronger, makes them faster, all those kinds of things. So it can like give you an advantage. So basically, the women hold all the power. This one came out in like 2020, and it was all the rage when it happened. Pun definitely not intended, okay? That was not intended. But everyone loved this book, and I flew through this book. This is the first book in a 3-part series, at least. I think there's going to be at least 3. But there are only 2 out at this time. The next one is sort of a standalone. It started as a standalone, but it is Priory of the Orange Tree. So I read this one several years ago, and I don't remember a ton about it. I remember that we had this kingdom, and we had a lot of different perspectives in the story, mostly women. I think it was all women, actually. And we had this one lady who was like a queen, but she wasn't married, and she had a lady in waiting who had a lot of secrets and was using magic to like protect her. And then we're also following this other girl on the other side of the world who is trying to be a dragon rider. And we also have like the country is divided into like east and west, and like both sides are at war with each other, and they refuse to find peace. This one does have a little bit of a love story in it, if I remember correctly. This book is massive, massive, like 800-page book. But the world is super intricate and easy to read, and you really love the characters in this. They are super compelling, and there's also this like plague that's happening that everyone sort of gets really like worried about, and you can't like interact with certain people because of it. Like, it's a whole thing. This one was also pretty popular several years ago. I definitely didn't read it during the craze. I think I read it after. So I have no idea when this came out, but you've probably heard of it. The next one on this list is Fourth Wing. And I know you've heard about Fourth Wing because I have talked about it a ton already in the last couple of months. So I'll be quick. Fourth Wing, we're following Violet, and Violet grew up wanting to be a scribe. Well, she ends up having to be a dragon rider instead. So she goes to the Dragon Rider Academy, and they are brutal. They will kill you if they think you're a weak link. A weak link. Lord, that was hard to say. The dragons themselves are super vicious, and they are um mysterious in their own race of people. They do not answer to humans. They have their own leaders, and they do not bend to humans. They will tell you that multiple times. But so in this world with the dragons, we go through this dragon academy, and you have to go through all these challenges. You have to fight hand to hand, and if you make it to a certain point without dying, then you can join this event to sort of bond with a dragon. I don't remember what it's called. But basically, you go and you try to find your dragon, and and you know it's your dragon when they talk to you, and you bond them. You don't really pick your dragon; they basically pick you. And so, if you end up not picking a dragon, then oh well, you have to try again next year. You have to go through all the challenges all over again. But Violet, the thing that makes this a little bit different is that Violet is her body is very frail, and she breaks all the time, and so she is terrified to be in this academy because of the fact that she is a super weak link as far as like her body goes. Her brain is super smart, and she can outthink obstacles and those kinds of things, and it really comes in handy for her. She's also a target because of the fact that her mom is a general, and she put a lot of those people's parents to death because of a rebellion that they started. And now these kids are dragon riders, and they could kill her if they wanted to. Meanwhile, we have this love triangle happening, and the dragons are brutal, and I just love that so much. And they can talk to you in like your brain, and oh, I love a good fighter academy. I love vicious dragons. This one has a lot of dragon in it, so if you really want a lot of dragon, definitely go with this one. The next one on this list is Of Blood and Fire. This one, we are following this kid, Callum, and he is your run of the mill farm kid just trying to grow up, and he ends up thrust into this world that he didn't even know existed, and he was just like, what in the world? So his world gets turned upside down, and he ends up going on the run with these random dudes that he met the night before, and turns out they're running from the government, and one of them ends up killing a soldier in the military, and so that's a big deal. So now everyone's on the run, and we have a dragon egg, and we're like, what in the world? So we're having to deal with that, and we're having to deal with um we've got giants, and there are dwarves in this, and we have all kinds of things in this. It's so interesting. It's very much like Aragon. So if you loved Aragon growing up, you got to try this because it's so reminiscent of Aragon. Where Callum goes on this quest to help them with this egg, and he has very little idea what he's getting himself into, but he knows that he's wrapped up in it, and he just goes on this adventure. But we know that there's a lot more happening because, of course, it's not just him going and having this little dragon egg, right? We know that there's going to be a war happening, and he's going to have to learn how to deal. And this one was so much fun, and I really need to read the second one. Really need to put it on my list. I might put it on my list for the next couple weeks. And then the last one on this list for books that I've read is When the Moon Hatched. This one I read for a buddy read for, or more like a read along. I don't know the difference with Books with Brittany. She is reading it for the second time because the second book comes out soon. And so she did it with us as part of a buddy read. Well, this one, I'm going to be straight up. I missed so much in this story because it is high fantasy, and I just didn't understand it much. But I think more people in the buddy read. They understood a whole lot more about it than I did as far as like the world building goes. The storyline I've got, like I'm pretty good about that. It's the world building that I just got completely lost in. So if you love intricate and a lot happening in your world building, dude, you got to read this one because this one is all about the world building. And see, I'm more of like a plot and character person. I don't care about your world at all. And so I just got lost the whole way through. But the story itself was pretty interesting. So what ends up happening is we're following this girl Rafe, and she is part of a rebellion sort of thing. She is like blood bonded to this rebel leader, and she's contracted out to like kill people. So like she's pretty like badass from the beginning, and we see her infiltrate this event, and she finds her target, and she ends up killing people, and then we sort of get captured and she ends up in prison and sentenced to death. And that's where our story like really takes a turn because she meets this dude and he ends up getting her out of her situation, and she goes with him and she's trying to like flee from him, but then like things keep happening, and apparently he like knows her, but she doesn't know him, she doesn't remember him at all, and it's a whole thing. Like, that's probably all that I could really tell you about the plot because it's just better as it unravels because of all the secrets and everything that's happening, and Rave doesn't remember anything, so like her learning about things as the story goes, and you learn with her. So I'll leave that with that. But let's talk about the world building just a little bit because we've got a lot happening. We've got like these different kingdoms, and we've got these kings that are in place, and they're all like siblings, and they're horrible people. Like most of them are horrible people, and that's the one that Rave lives under. Like that's her kingdom, and he is like horrible, and he's taking children, and he like gathers them together for whatever reason, and Rave is like hates that, and so that's one part of the story. We have dragons. That's the big thing here is that we've got these dragons who what happens when they die is they basically go up in the sky to like live forever, and they become like moons, I guess. And there was this one dragon that kind of fell out of the sky, and that becomes a whole thing. We have different kinds of creatures in this. We have elemental magic in this. We have gods who can like talk to you. And I don't really know that it's true elemental magic. They call it elementals, but I think that that's the gods. I think the elemental portion of it is the gods because they don't have like fire and wind, which would be elemental, right? But they can like hear the gods sing, and you can either hear like one or multiple. It kind of just depends, and that allows you to have like more power, and you have to wear like the certain type of jewelry if you do hear the gods sing, and it's super super interesting. So if you love world building, definitely go with this one. If you get lost in world building like I do, don't read it unless you just want to try, because you'll probably get a little bit lost. So I'd recommend a buddy read with someone who loves world building so they can explain stuff to you as you go because I got very lost. And then these next four I have not read, but have been either on my list for a long time or I recently heard about them and need to read them. This next one was all the rage for a long time, several years ago. This is Fireborn. This one I never read. I didn't want to read it, and I don't even remember why. I think it was just because it was so hyped, and I'm just like, whatever, I don't care. But now that I'm like really into the dragons right now, I really want to read it. This one, we are following these two kids, Annie and Lee, I think. Yeah, Annie and Lee. And they have grown up in this orphanage together. They are best friends. Annie, her family were killed by dragon fire, and Lee's family were killed by revolutionaries. From my understanding, anyone can attempt to be a dragon rider, and so these two are attempting to be dragon riders. And not only that, but they're actually pretty good, and they are competing for a top spot in this academy. Why they both can't just be great, I don't know, but they're both competing for the top spot. And so this part of the blurb says, with war on the horizon and his relationship with Annie changing fast, Lee must choose to kill the only family he has left or to betray everything he's come to believe in. And Annie must decide whether to protect the boy she loves or step up to be the champion her city needs. So that sounds interesting. I love when characters have to make really tough choices. And this sounds like it would be a super tough choice because you're deciding between everything that you want with everything that you've loved for the longest time. That's a pretty tough choice. So definitely super interested in this one. This next one, I think I've only known for a couple of months, and that is Dragon Mage. So this one, we're following this dude, Aram, Aram, I guess, Aram, and all he wants to do is be accepted and find some friends, and he's never known that, and I just think that that's precious. But what he doesn't know is that he is much more than everything he's ever known. Apparently, he has some kind of magic that others can use against him or like use him for in sinister ways, or they can kill him for it. But he ends up at this academy, it sounds like, in order to try and be a dragon rider. He earns a place at an academy for warrior mages, training to earn for themselves the greatest place of honor among the armies of men, dragon riders. So that's super interesting. And apparently has some like old school magic that's super powerful. So super interested in that. And then when a dark god out of ancient myth arises to threaten the world of magic, it is Aram the world will turn to in its hour of need. So he's gonna go from a nobody to a hero, and I just absolutely love that story. It's one of my favorite types of stories, bar none. I love a good hero story, especially when they come from nothing. I just love that so much. So this one is definitely high on the list. This next one has been on my list for a long, long time, and I don't know if I'll get to read it, but you might enjoy it. So it's still going to be on this list. This is The House of Dragons. And no, it is not Game of Thrones related. So this blurb says, when the emperor dies, the 5 royal houses of the city attend the call, where one of their own will be selected to compete for the throne. It is always the oldest child, the one that has been preparing for years to compete in the trial. But this year, it's different. This year, these 5 outcasts will answer the call: the liar, the soldier, the servant, the thief, the murderer. So this one has Six of Crows vibes for me, where we have this ragtag team of people. Although it doesn't sound like they're going to be a team in this, it sounds like they're going to be competing in this. So I think that would be so cool. I love a good trial. I love when we have events where we're competing against other people. I guess it's the competitor in me. I don't really know. But I definitely, definitely love a good competition. And this one sounds really interesting. Now, as far as like the dragons are concerned, I don't know exactly how many or how much the dragons are in this. I do know that one of these people, the servant, Vesper, is a dragon trainer whose skills alone will keep her in the game. So I don't know how much dragon we get in this. I mean, it's the House of the Dragon, right? So we should have quite a bit of dragons, but I have no idea. And then the last one on this list is a new one that I found by making this list, and that is the Dragon Cursed. So this one, it says, the hellfire from above is nothing compared to the infection that threatens us all. For there is no worse fate than being dragon cursed. Slowly and excruciatingly, you'll be transformed into a mindless beast who destroys everything and everyone you love. So they turn into dragons, is how I read that. And I think that would be so cool. Like, we're going to turn into a dragon, and it's not like a fun thing, it's an infection kind of thing. Like, what? So this sounds super interesting. Like, it's so interesting. I've never read a premise like that where you are turning into a dragon because you're infected by something. Like, What? So basically, it's like a zombie thing, but like it's dragons. And then how do you kill them once they get cursed? Like you have to kill dragons? Like what? Wild. Absolutely wild. So this one is definitely high on the list for me to read because I think that premise is just so cool. But all right, guys, so that is my quick list of books that have dragons in them. What books do you know and love that have dragons in them? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.